Paul Rosales from Remax Realty Professionals, and obviously real estate is your business. That's what.
Yep.
We listened to the Money Talks report that talked about now being a good time to buy a house.
Mm-hmm.
Do you concur?
Oh yeah. It's unusual to have this type of situation in just about any kind of marketplace. You have a good amount of inventory out there. Last time I checked on the Wichita MLS, we have about 4,000 houses available for people to pick from. And they're in all kinds of different states. Mm-hmm. They can be houses that need a lot of work. They can be houses that need just personalization. They can be houses that are perfect and move-in ready to go. So depending on what you're looking for, mm-hmm. you ought to be able to find that out there on the market. It shouldn't be that difficult with that many houses, especially this time of the year. With this time of the year, we are going to see a lot more houses come on the market. I'm starting to see a lot more listing activity mm-hmm. in our local market. And I think as people drive through their own neighborhoods, if you remember how few signs were out in the yards a couple of years ago, mm-hmm. compare that to what's going on now. You'll see a lot more signs. I think at the low of the market, we were around 3,000 houses on the market. Wow. Now we're over 4,000. So you can see there's quite a bit of activity. Mm-hmm. To give you an idea of activity differences, the last numbers I saw for the Wichita market for January of this year are 15% higher than January of last year. For March of this year, we're up 36% over March of last year.
Now those are houses sold?
Mm-hmm. Those are closed deals.
Okay.
Right. Those are closed deals. Now on a Kansas level, there's improvement, but it's not as strong as the Wichita market. The Wichita market seems stronger than the state as a whole. However, the state is also seeing some really strong numbers. Some numbers folks over in California, Florida, Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, they'd like to see anything even close to those. We're actually mm-hmm. seeing improvements in prices on houses as well as improvements in the marketplace.
When you say improvements in prices on houses, is that from a seller's standpoint or a buyer's standpoint?
Well, it's the sold price. Okay. So it's the sold price of a house. So the more you can get for the house, mm-hmm. it's better for the seller. On the other hand, for the buyer, mm-hmm. we have historically low interest rates.
Okay.
If you went and you looked at interest rates, I think when we bought our house, interest rates were at 6%. Mm-hmm. It was about half a decade ago almost. They were sitting at about 6%. Now they're sitting at just over 4%. That's a 50% difference in your interest rate, and that makes a huge difference as to what your house payments mm-hmm. are. Therefore, it makes a huge difference as to what your affordability is, how much house mm-hmm. you can afford. And the professor from the Florida Institute, that's kind of what he's talking about. If you go and you rent a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, and it's going to cost you $700 a month to rent that, if you can get a similar house and purchase it with current interest rates, you might only be paying $500 a month. And that will include your interest, your principal, your taxes, and your insurance. Because you got to realize, what is a landlord in the game to do? Mm-hmm. They've all refinanced their properties to this new lower interest rate or a similar interest rate, whatever they could get from their bank. But they're still charging what they used to. Mm-hmm. So they're making more money on the deal. Mm-hmm. Whereas with the interest rates, you as a buyer, you're able to afford more home. It makes sense for you to go, if you're going to spend $700 and if you're comfortable with a $700 house payment, instead of settling for a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, go on ahead and get a house that's going to fit your needs. Maybe you can afford a 5-bedroom, 2.5-bathroom, 2-car garage house for $700. It depends on where you're going to buy, because neighborhoods do vary greatly, and it will govern what size property you're going to get. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to spend that $700, you might as well get the most out of it. Plus, if you're paying a landlord, that landlord is not going to give you any of that money back.
Oh, that's right.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
That's his forever. Uh-huh. Whereas if you're paying on a mortgage, you're going to start realizing some equity in your property. So when it's time for you to either upsize the house or downsize, or if you just want to move to be closer to friends or family, you can move, and there's a bucket of money there that's going to help you move into your next home. Mm-hmm. You just take your equity with you. Right now is a good time to buy also, because there's lots of different buying programs out there. I know I've mentioned this before, but a lot of people don't realize just how many programs are out there. You have the program out there that can give you $2,500 for purchase of a home. You have a program out there that can give you $4,000, and again, all you do is you pay $75 for that program. You take the course, $4,000 is right there for you to buy a house. It's an amazing program, especially if you're on disability. It's a great program for folks who are on permanent disability. If you're on permanent disability, if you're bringing in, say, $1,000 a month, because you don't pay taxes on that, a lot of lenders will look at it as if you're bringing $1,250 home a month.
I see.
So they bump you up because you're not being taxed on it,
Sure.
depending on what kind of disability payment you're receiving. There's programs out there that can give you up to $9,000. Some will give you up to 15 or 20% down payment for the property that you want to buy. It just depends. Each situation's different, but with interest rates, a lot of inventory on the market right now, a lot of selection, it's a great time to buy along with the buying programs.
And people can call you if they want to
That's
look for a
right.
house.
550-HOME and watch the home show.
And we'll be back in a couple of minutes with the movies for the weekend, so stay with us.